Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the show. We're here today with our second host call of the weekend. Hopefully, you were able to tune in yesterday. A lot of great questions came in from the community. Give you a little taste of what we went through yesterday. We spoke about doing the detox and able to customize that for the individual if needed. We spoke about different types of body types, and what if you are a Vata/Kapha based body type? How do you keep that balanced? We also spoke about looking at different types of side effects that chemotherapy could potentially cause, what to do about that. We spoke about IHP. We spoke about the blood type diet and me visiting the Didamo Center, learning up there quite a number of years ago. What else did we talk about? We talked about the Fatlocity system and weight loss and when you might be able to take that nighttime dosage as well. And that was it. So a lot of great questions yesterday. Hopefully you checked that out. That was episode 1856. That's at stephencabral.com/1856. And then today's episode, if you'd like to read along with the questions, you can head on over to stephencabral.com/1857. stephencabral.com/1857 to read along with the questions. All right, let's get into our first question of the day coming in from our community. And this is one from Victoria. Victoria is asking, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. Thank you in advance for your time. My question is mainly on Lyme disease. I'm someone who has confirmed Lyme from the Western blot, I believe. I haven't yet taken any antibiotics. I definitely have the symptoms, neurological dizziness, anxiety, etc. I believe I've had it for at least 3 years now, undiagnosed. My question would be, how would you treat the symptoms of someone with Lyme disease that has had it for years? Would you alter your tick-based protocol in any way? Just wondering, as that episode seemed to be more of an immediate response to a recent tick bite. Thanks again." Okay. So first and foremost, Lyme disease is a diagnosed medical-based condition. Therefore, I do not provide any medical treatment protocols or medical-based advice. What I do is look at how do we help our own immune system, how do we help our own body become rebalanced to get to the underlying root causes. Yes, the protocol that I gave you previous to that was what I personally do when bitten by a tick. And that has happened to me, and it just happened 2 summers ago. So that's what I do. And then also what I would do if I personally was bitten by a tick and like within, let's say, weeks to months. Okay, but what if you've had it now for years and you have all these symptoms? Well, the protocols that I use are not too much different. However, they would most likely last for 2 to 3 months rather than 2 to 3 weeks. That's what, again, like I personally would do. But you might be deciding on, okay, I want to use the antibiotics to see if this is going to help me. And then, of course, if you do, then you'll probably want to look at something like the CBO finisher, which is meant to help heal and seal that gut wall. And then you might have to do some mitochondrial work based on those antibiotics. So, of course, like I said, I can't provide you with a treatment protocol. I'm just letting you know what I've done myself, what I've used in my practice. So, Victoria, hopefully that's helpful. Andreas is up next. I've had an issue with very thick yellow toenails on my right foot for 20 plus years. Scraping revealed it's yeast. I was just going to say that. It's most likely fungal. All right, so there we go. My father also had this issue on his right foot only. I have Hashimotos, D, and B12. Definitely skin issues on the face and can't seem to get rid of toenail issue. Why only on the right foot? Also, any insight on geographic tongue? Yes, geographic tongue, fungal-based growth in the toenails, all of these things all go together. So we're looking at gut issues. Why does it only affect your right foot? Well, again, some of these things are strange in our genetics, but absolutely possible. There's no doubt about it. Like I know families where people have issues, congenital-based issues, that come about in their like 20s, 30s, 40s with like one shoulder, like their left shoulder. Like these things can run within genetics. However, you have to be predisposed to it. So, geographic tongue, we're talking about psoriasis-based issues, yeast fungal-based issues, and yeast fungal-based issues can cause psoriasis. And we can look at that on the tongue. So this is all like, this is kind of all connected. Same with autoimmune-based issues. So here's what we want to do. We need to run the minimum of the starter kit. So the minimum of the Candida metabolic and vitamins test. I personally, if I were you, Andreas, if you're able to afford it, I would run the big 5 labs plus the bacteria and parasite stool test. Okay, let's say that you can only run a couple labs. That's okay. I would run the Candida metabolic and vitamins test first. Then I would run the parasite and bacterial stool test, ideally all at the same time. Then I would run the food sensitivity test. So I'd run all the gut tests. Those are the 3 gut tests. They tell you different things. That's what I would do. And if you can only do those 3, then fantastic. If not, big 5 plus the bacteria and parasite stool test, because you most likely have a lot going on in that gut, and that's what I would work on. In terms of the right foot, sure, I could give you some topical things. I've talked about them on previous shows. I've talked about the apple cider vinegar and baking soda foot baths with the tea tree oil in there. So you can do things like that, but we're looking at an internal issue, and so I want to get to the bottom of it. So I would head over to equi.life, equi.life/labs, and I would purchase those labs. They're going to come with a consultation. They're going to come with a wellness plan, and I would get to work on those underlying root cause issues. Really, you can beat around the bush, and so many people do, but at the end of the day, that's what has to happen. I mean, you have to know what's going on inside of your body. There's no other way. I'm not going to sugarcoat it anymore. And again, a lot of people say, well, I'll try to find the lab cheaper somewhere else. Labs mean nothing without the proper protocol and person reading it. They really don't. I mean, I could just tell you the years I spent running different labs with different people that did not know how to properly interpret them or have the proper protocols to go along with it. In the end, you can never take the shortcuts. You can't. It's just the way that it works in life, I guess. But we all find that out. I mean, we really do. And that's okay. That's all part of our journey. My journey just took a long time, and I want to shortcut you that if possible. All right, Shay's up next. Hello, Dr. Brawl. Thanks for everything you do. I'm writing in regards to my husband. He's 28 years old, and he's been having terrible night sweats off and on for a long time. It's so bad sometimes he can't even sleep because the minute he falls asleep, he starts sweating. I've tried so many things to help him. I just don't know what to do. Background info that could be helpful. He usually only sleeps around 7 hours a night, eats well, don't do any refined sugars, carbs, processed foods, etc. He was in the military and both mentally and physically stressful on his body, not to mention a large volume of vaccines. He's also had trouble feeling joy lately. He's never been depressed, but I can see him struggling some days. Thanks, Shay. Okay. We're looking at probably one of 2 factors. One, toxicity. You named how many things that they give the military, right? And like that is something to be concerned about because it is high dosages that the body has to detox. So here's what we want to do. I mean, I can't recommend enough because the simplest, you always try to work simple to complex. If simple works, no need to ever do complex. I would love to see a 21-day detox. Love to see a 21-day detox. No doubt about it. Okay. Of course, I mean, if I have labs, then I can help. If I don't have labs, it's hard to pinpoint. However, I would look at the detox, but I would also look at something called dysautonomia. And this is the body having difficulty, basically, I was just going to say switching off, but it's not that it can't switch off. All of the functions of the parasympathetic nervous system are not working as they should with the sympathetic nervous system. And there's like this, think of it as like a push-pull. Think of it as one foot's on the gas, one foot's at the brake at the same time. I don't know that this is hormonal. I think it may be detox, and I think it might be autonomic nervous system based. So it's ANS based. So again, we could look at that with like a lack of magnesium. We could look at it all sorts of different things. I would love you to run the minimum of the starter kit. Ideally, the whole big five. And if you're going to run those labs, run them first, then do the 21-day detox before you meet with your practitioner for that coaching call. So Shay, that's what I'm recommending. Again, I can't recommend medical-based protocols or advice or treatment plans or cures, but I can certainly share with you what we've seen work in our practice over the past 20 years and well over 250,000 client appointments. So Sarah's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I love your show and appreciate all you do for the community. I learn so much in every show, and I trust and value your opinion. I was wondering if you've heard of the BEPIC product and what your thoughts are on those. They're supposed to help with energy, mental clarity, digestion, and sleep. Could these potentially cause more harm than good in the long run? I'm curious what your thoughts are. One of the few people who I fully trust when it comes to health and wellness. Thank you for all that you do and being your authentic self and for all you do. Thank you. Appreciate that, Sarah. I never look things up on the podcast, but you've piqued my interest. So I'm going to type it into my internet browser. And we've got BEPIC. Maybe that's it. I don't even know if I'm looking at the right product. But let's take a look around. And well, there's so many different ones, so I don't know what we're talking about. But let's just check out, their Be Immune. Be Immune. It's a fun name, that's for sure. Our product names aren't fun enough. I say that all the time. All right, let's take a look. We've got olive leaf, acerola, astragalus, echinacea, reishi, oregano. We've got curcumin. Oh, it's interesting. I thought it was going to be a B vitamin. It's not a B vitamin. Well, I don't know how to give you a good recommendation because there's so many different products and I don't know the specific one that you're looking at. And let me just give you an overall basis on my foundation around nutritional supplements. Because they seem to use a lot of curcumin in their products. I don't have an issue with that at all. Curcumin obviously is a great product. But here's the thing. I'm not a big icing on the cake kind of person unless you've earned the icing on the cake, meaning I am big rocks first. So people don't get well by taking curcumin. This is, by the way, this is nothing against BEPIC. I don't even know if we're talking about the right company, to be honest with you. But and we have a curcumin product on our website. So if you go to eco.life, you'll see a curcumin there. So obviously it's a good product. There's no doubt about it. But curcumin doesn't matter. All of the, like acerola berry does not matter if you have not set your foundation because it's icing on the cake. So meaning curcumin is meant to be a natural anti-inflammatory. And you know what? Studies show that it works. Okay, fantastic, fantastic. It can help with blood sugar, it can help with so many different things. However, your body's never missing curcumin, right? Because there's not a curcumin molecule that your body needs. But what it does need are all your B vitamins, your vitamin C, your electrolytes. It needs to get enough protein a day, about 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight, maybe a little bit more if you are more active. Like you need to get all the foundational things first. You definitely need your omega-3s. So that's what we do. Daily foundational protocol, level 2 or level 3. If you're over age 30, 40 years old, level 3, because it has the digestive enzyme. Okay, so if you're not doing daily foundational protocol, level 2 or level 3 at eco.life, that's what you need. Like that's first and foremost. Next level is the immunity bundle. Right? The immunity protocol. What is that? Well, it's extra vitamin C. You already get some in the foundational protocol, extra zinc, and then extra vitamin D. Okay, now you've done that. Okay, now if you're balanced and you've done both of those, now the next product that you could use could be some icing on the cake things. CoQ10, resveratrol, curcumin, astragalus, nicotinamide riboside. Well, like that, those things are good, but you need to make sure the foundation's set. Hopefully that's helpful. All right, Emily's up next. Hi there. I'm at a point of desperation. My 5-year-old and myself have some weird parasite. We were diagnosed with pinworms, but never tested, and the medicine seemed to work a little, but not completely. My son recently was diagnosed with Bell's palsy, and I can't see out of one of my eyes. Doctors don't believe. Can someone please help? All right, well, this is definitely a medical-based issue, Emily. So you certainly want to be working with your medical-based doctor, your PCP, but you might need to go to an infectious disease-based specialist to see what is going on. And you can't diagnose someone without parasites if you've never actually looked for parasites. So I recommend you run that lab with your medical doctor, or you run the bacteria and parasite stool test And of course, you can bring that to your MD as well. But work with a natural health doctor or an integrative health practitioner, or and your medical doctor, because there's some medical conditions going on here. You want to get both sides of the story. And if it seemed to start to work, but not fully, you might not have taken a long enough dosage of whatever you were taking, because sometimes you stop the medication or natural health protocol too soon without it fully doing the work. Sometimes they say 5 days, but what if you needed 10, or what if you needed 2 weeks, right? So that's what we need to look at that. And obviously both you and your 5-year-old were infected and you did get a parasite. So you really should be working with someone knowledgeable in this area. And I would ask for a recommendation from your PCP for an infectious disease-based doctor. All right, Lorraine is up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. Absolutely love your podcast. I activate all of my seeds by soaking them in filtered water overnight with a pinch of Himalayan sea salt and then roast them in the oven. I then store them in the fridge, as this is what is recommended to do after activating. Do you think storing them in the fridge is a bad idea due to mold growing, or is this not an issue? Thanks. Excuse me. A little bit of my free plug here for Mountain Valley. A little bit of my Mountain Valley water here in my dark green glass bottle. Okay. The nice thing is with this too, it's a full liter. So when you're trying to get, a minimum of 2, ideally 3 liters of water a day, it's easy to judge how much you're drinking. But I typically have a glass jar. Well, not typically. I always have a big 32-ounce glass jar, and I have a 32-ounce smoothie in the morning. So that's 1 liter of water. Then we've got another liter of water. And then when I go home, I drink much more as well. And that's obviously through the afternoon. So it's easy to get your water when you can to keep things systematized. That had nothing to do with today's question. But of course, I like to put in my little rants inside there as well. All right. So this is a double-edged sword that you're asking about, Lorena. I do not love to store things in the refrigerator if they can be stored on the counter, and that is because of the potential for mold growing. Why did I call it a double-edged sword? Well, one is the sprouted seeds and all that can last longer in the refrigerator. There is no doubt about it. But you need to make sure that I typically put in a paper towel or some type of cloth, which is going to absorb the moisture. I do that with lettuce. I do that with veggies, because you can't have moisture in there, right? And the refrigerator can breed moisture. So put a piece of paper towel in there and put it in a tightly closed Ziploc or a stasher bag or a silicone based bag. So that's what I would do. And then, of course, you can keep them on the counter. It's okay, because then, of course, you're not getting any moisture in there. And you just need to make sure that you're using them, within 3 to 5 days. It kind of depends on your climate as well. So you can really sprout seeds just once a week, and they're good for the full week for sure. So something to look into. And a lot of times they can honestly, dry roasted sprouted can last much, much longer. They really can. If you keep them stored really tight in a jar or in a bag, they'll last for a while, and there's really not a need to keep them in the fridge. I'm not a big keep things in a fridge kind of person unless absolutely needed. And then, of course, I'll do that. I know that I went back and forth, but there are pros and cons. So, all right, let's do one more question today. It's from Carlos. Is there an easy way to listen to very old podcasts? I can't find the podcast I want to listen to, but then go into an endless loop. I can find the podcast I want to, but then go into an endless loop. There is no play button on the relevant podcast. And clicking on listen in iTunes takes me to the latest 10. And then click to add 10 more. Is there an easy play this podcast now button? Thanks. Okay. Yes, every podcast I've ever done, which is now 1,857, are available at stephencabral.com/podcasts. Now, we've done a bunch of different things to make this even easier. We have added categories now to iTunes on intermittent fasting, Ayurveda, etc. They're also all at the above on stephencabral.com/podcast. You just scroll through the images at the top. We are also adding all of the podcasts to iTunes and archive categories from 0 or 1 to 300, and then whatever it's going to be to 600, because they only allow 300 at a time. However, we just found out a new thing. You're able to get every single podcast, all 1,857, if you are a subscriber to the Cabral concept on iTunes. That's pretty cool now. So it's not just the last 300. If you press subscribe, which hopefully everybody does, if you press subscribe, you can go back and you can look at all the previous podcasts, which is pretty amazing. So there are multiple ways now to listen to all of the podcasts, which of course I definitely recommend people doing. There's no time limit that you have to do them in, but if you could just listen to 1 or 2 more per day and you can get through all of them, I truly believe you're going to have a rock solid integrative health-based knowledge, and that's going to serve you for the rest of your life. It's going to help you, your family members, everybody. And so that's why I recommend it. Again, the podcasts are completely free. Never have to purchase anything, never have to work with a health coaching team. Ever. That's not a requirement at all. I just want to provide you with great information that hopefully I believe will serve you and, of course, your loved ones, your community. That is it for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for your support. If you've never reviewed the podcast, I'd love you to leave a 2-second review. That's all that needs to be. Hopefully it's 5 stars. Press the little 5-star and just say, love the podcast or whatever. I mean, leave an honest review. That's what but I do read every single review. And of course, if you press subscribe, more and more people subscribe. And then we move up in the rankings and we get to reach more people. So thank you again so much for your support. And I will talk with you tomorrow on our Mindset and Motivation Monday show, the best way to start the week. Take care. I appreciate you listening all the way to the end of the show. And before you go, what I want to do is share with you what is going on right now over at our global health practice, equa.life. That is where all of our health coaching, our protocols, our at-home lab testing, all nutritional supplements, basically everything lives there that was inside of our Boston practice that we've now made a global-based process and practice to open source everything that you could get in a functional medicine concierge practice, now open that up to the entire world. So we're always excited about being able to share with you what's new, what's the latest, what's the greatest that we want to be able to bring to people. And this week, we want to be able to get you a bottle of our daily digestive enzyme. This is absolutely one of our most popular products. And that is because if you're dealing with bloating-based issues, slow digestion, gas after meals, or of course, just kind of feeling like a little bit too full after you eat, an enzyme can help with those particular issues. So right now on all orders over $99, you are going to get a free bottle of our daily digestive enzyme. This is a almost $40 value, yours free on orders over $99. And again, I know many of you took advantage of that minerals and metals based test last week. If you have low levels of minerals on that lab test, you'll know that you're not absorbing all of your nutrients properly, which is also another great reason to be using an enzyme. Just about a couple years ago, I said to myself, honestly, there's no downside to using an enzyme for me at my whole food-based meals, and that's exactly what I do every single day. It's part of my daily foundational protocol level 3, and I use it with every lunch and every dinner to break down my food to a greater degree. And again, I want to be able to share that same product with you. So you can test it out, yours completely free on all orders while supplies last at equa.life. That's EQUI.LIFE. Take care, everyone.